This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
What's up, family? Gerald the Bossman here. You're tuned into the Bossman Show on AM 1010, AM 1430, 1055 The King. Let the King out at 105theking.com and the Bossman Show at bossmanshow.com. Hit me up on Instagram, The Bossman Show, Twitter at Bossman Show, and Facebook, Bossman Show. It's the Bossman on your radio.
Listen to the Bossman Show with your host, JR, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1010, The King.
What's up, good people? BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. The latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use your promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Yes, BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV, covering content and hot topics from A to Z, sports, music, society and culture, movie reviews, you name it, we have it. Check it out on bs3network.com or check us out on Roku, BS3 TV on Roku, as well as check out your favorite podcast on all podcast platforms or Spreaker.com/BS3 Network.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Bossman Show with Kevin McGeehan here, the Campbell Fighting Campbells, and out of CAA. Coach, good to talk to you again. It's been a few years. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Coach, let me ask you, man, you're in year 12, been in one place in today's college basketball environment. What's the key to your success, man? The secret sauce, man, to be in one place 12 years, man.
Just try to be consistent, man. Just try to be consistent every day and you know, treat our guys right. Try to make them better at basketball, better people, and engage in campus and the community. And, it's a really special place to be.
100%, coach. And for you, let me ask you this, coach. You took the job in 13, and for you, how has the game changed over your 12 years, in your opinion, from recruiting wise, on court play, the players? How has it all changed for you? As you see this game kind of change in the time you've been there?
Well, I mean, I think from an X's and O's perspective, I think things have, there's way more detail in game planning across the board. I think, because ball screens have become such a big part of uh, college basketball in general. I think, it took a little time for the defenses to catch up to the offenses when that became, a big part of how the game was being played. And now it's, you have so many different ways to, as you see in the NBA, like there's so many different coverages and all that kind of stuff from an X's and O's standpoint. From the rest of the game's probably changed way more, with, the transfer portal and NIL and all the things that have made the job much more of a transient type thing, with just a lot more new players consistently going through programs. And so, it's important to lean back on your foundational things, your kind of your core values and I think it's really important to recruit well, but to recruit targeted to what works for you, and then most important is finding kind of the right people to be on the ship with you. Because I think there's nothing worse than walking in the gym and you're worrying about headaches or things like, maybe it's academic or off-court stuff or, guys that want shots and, like trying to have a culture that's built. But I think it starts with your selection process and trying to find guys that fit your program.
100%, Coach McGeehan. And I think with the transfer portal, I can look at it like it's speed dating almost. Like, so you really have to really do your quick background work and lean on guys you may have recruited in the past when elsewhere that you kind of know the person, so you don't get that headache or that cancer on a team that's only about me. We have an agenda, and it ruins the whole team and brings the whole team down.
I totally agree. I mean, it's definitely does feel like the spring definitely feels like a speed dating, where you're just trying to get to know kids quickly, some of which maybe you do have previous knowledge of, but the days of, working a guy from evaluating him as a freshman and sophomore and, recruiting him through his junior summer and then getting him on a visit and trying to line up the first visit with the fall football weekend and in his senior year to get him to commit, to sign in November. Those days it's just changed so dramatically and everything's happening so quickly and mostly in the spring via the transfer portal.
And coach, for you, like for high school young men, I feel bad for them now because the name of the game is just get old and stay old, and now with the COVID year falling off, now maybe going to an automatic fifth year, the older guys in the system still. And so, how do you what do you tell to a young high school kid that wants opportunity now that where those D1 spots may not be the way they used to be?
Yeah, I mean it's tricky, every kid's a little bit different. I mean, I think first and foremost for all, younger players is like don't lose sight of the fact that you got to try to keep getting better. Like that's work on your craft and try to compete at a high level and make sure your academics are in order. Like don't let anything get in your way. And don't get caught up in why am I not getting recruited? Why did this kid get recruited? All that kind of stuff. Because in the end, I don't think that serves you well. I think trying to just continue to improve is probably the most important thing. Compete at a high level, be able to show a coach that your trajectory is still going that way, that you're not just stagnant and waiting for the opportunity. As far as like how to advise, I mean, it's tricky. I think there will be some more Obviously, there's some good prep schools out there and stuff to give the guys a little more time to get older. If the junior college stuff stays the way it looks like it's trending, in which you will not lose Division I eligibility, based on the Vanderbilt football guy. If that ends up being the case, I think that will drive some kids toward junior colleges, which will then put them in the older pool later than they were initially thinking. But yeah, it's a different deal. I do think that if the what comes out of this whole settlement and the roster capping essentially, which for men's basketball could take us up to 15 scholarships. That could open some doors for some high school guys again, where you start to go back a little bit more toward, developing younger guys, because it's hard to have 15 guys and play them all.
Yeah.
So that might start to become more the model again, and rather than just collection of as much talent within your group as you can, maybe working a few guys back into that developmental pipeline. But, we're not going to know that until everything's sort of sorted out, and it's all based on what we're hearing and what we think might happen at this point. Once we get official word that may happen. I mean, in other sports, it's like it has different impacts in every sport. Like, baseball's going to go to 34. Well, they've been sitting at 40. So that's a roster reduction. However, they're allowed to give scholarships up to 34, which they were only able to give 11.7 before. So it's kind of like that works both ways. You got guys that are probably really good players that are not getting money in baseball and are going to be, might be looking for a home here, after the spring. And it's like they're really good players. So I think every sport's a little bit different. And as all this shakes out, I think we'll have a better understanding of how to approach it.
And coach, like you said, man, you have 13 on the roster now. And like I know in the NBA, most teams are playing between 8 and 10 guys, depending on Memphis plays 11 guys, which is crazy. But Memphis 11 gets 11. But I believe you're gonna be 8 or 9 guys you're gonna play. So if you have 15, 6 guys gonna have to really be those stay ready guys, great practice players, development guys. So you say it's gonna get a little trickier. You know how guys want to coach immediate gratification, but they have to say coming in, hey, if it's 15, we only can play 8 or 9 or 10 of you at max. Not 15.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there definitely will be a mindset shift. However, I do think that, that kind of does go back to the development. It's like opportunity, and then, developing within a college program is a valuable thing. So, it may end up having a recentering effect to this whole thing, which right now it doesn't feel like we have a center ground, because, I think everybody's looking to be older all the time.
And coach, talk about this piece. You have a new roster pretty much every year now. So how important is it those summertime to really build up bond, build that chemistry, build that camaraderie? So come fall, and when school starts in August, and then fall practice starts a little bit right there after in September, getting ready for November. How important those time and those hours, those workout sessions, those training sessions in the dining halls, to build a camaraderie, because we got coaching the guys coming together, returners and new guys, trying to mesh them all together for the one common goal, which is to win the CAA and then go to the big dance in March.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important. I mean, really, honestly, time together is the most valuable thing. It's important on the court. Obviously, you're trying to get your concepts established, and your sort of your foundational core values, but basketball wise, get that stuff sort of implemented. But then I do think there's a great value in, like we've done paintball, and, guys go bowling, and, we've had cookouts at my house, like different things to bring them together so they can get to know each other in a different way. And I think a lot of it goes back to trying to find the right people that are ready to embrace whatever it is that you're emphasizing and that is your culture. And then you try to put those pieces around to kind of complement and supplement all that stuff so that they can be as close knit as is possible when you're playing basketball games, which feels like a long way off. But, the days of, my freshmen are going to make that sophomore leap, and my juniors are going to be my guys, and my seniors are going to be my leaders, and it's just different because there's a lot of new mixed into all that, even though they might be experienced.
And coach, as his coach, you're currently on a 5-game winning streak, and I want to ask you what triggered this streak for you guys. Kind of what are you doing well on the court that's really helped you win these games, and also did that Christmas break, those 11 days you had off between that December 18th game, kind of get yourself self-scout a little bit, kind of see what you've been doing, kind of work on you guys when you get off Christmas break to kind of say, hey, give you a little reset and refocus here to kind of jumpstart just say, hey, you're next 7-3 in conference play in 5 games in a row here.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you go back, we've never had a long break like that before, and it's hard to say how it's going to work out, right? It just was the way the schedule fell for us this year. Scheduling is a tricky thing, and it ended up being, I guess, a little bit of a blessing in disguise. I think it was a little bit of a mental reset for our guys. I think that when we came back and got to work and then went into that North Carolina game, I thought we played really, really well and competed at a high level. We lost the game by 15, but it was a tight game. We played them really, really competitively, to the point where, they still had their guys in there at the end, and it was not a sure thing. And so I think we gained some confidence from that. And then really, I think we were doing a lot of good things earlier in the year. We've had a few like big injuries that have forced us to take our depth and challenge that depth. And hopefully now we're coming out on the other side of that to where it can really help us down the stretch of this season. I think we were playing pretty good defensively all year. And we just really weren't making a lot of shots earlier in the year. Guys that typically shoot well, just we're kind of a little under where they were capable of. And I think we've just continued to progress defensively, and that has freed up our offense. And now we're starting to see some shots fall and stuff like that. I mean, we played a really good game against Charleston. We were 2 for 21 from 3, and, it was a possession game in the last minute. It ends up being 6 or 8, but it was like right there, and we shot that poorly. And they're a very good team. So I feel like our guys were even though they couldn't quite see the results every single time out, they were starting to see that we were putting this together. And now the guys are really clicking. We're playing good ball right now, and just trying to keep it going. Trying to keep that everyday mentality. It sounds like a cliche, but in a lot of ways, it's just like if you lean on what you do and your kind of your principles. Defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball, being structured, being organized. Eventually it just kind of can come together. And when you have a whole lot of new players, sometimes it does take time. And we're starting to hit our stride a little bit. So it's been fun to watch this group grow.
And Coach McGeehan, you said something very important there, Coach, because we had a game against the Rockets last Tuesday night where they were the best team in the NBA. We was on demand. It was a 2-point game, Coach, but we missed 21 threes and a few free throws. And Quinn Snyder said this after the game. He said, "Look, guys, we played a heck of a game, and don't think because you missed a shot, it was a bad shot. You came in the right flow of our offense, and what we want to get, shots we want to get, is ass didn't go in. And I know we don't want to make or miss, but sometimes it just is make or miss making that timely shot at the right time. And we missed 19 threes, and most of them are good shots. They also go in. You lose by 4. Like you said, it's not like you played a bad game. You took the right shots within your concept in your system. It just didn't go in for you that night. And I think that's what Coach. You hear him have the same kind of tone about that.
I think what happens sometimes is you get so caught up in the results that you lose track of how are we actually playing. Like I look at that all the time. It's, hey, did we get the shots we wanted? Was it the right guy shooting the shot that he's comfortable shooting? And sometimes if they don't go in, like you still got to try to figure out how to find a way to win. But you can't get too down on those. The same as you can't get too up if you have a a 15-3 made game, and you're able to, run away with a game. It doesn't mean that that's you forever. Like, still got to kind of go back to who you are. And, and if you're consistent with that stuff, I believe that the results will follow.
Yeah, in that game, coach, we were 13 of 34 from three.
There you go.
They lost by 4. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, it's all about looking at, are we doing it the right way? Like you said, coach. This thing you're doing well, coach. You're valuing the ball. 10 turnovers a game is almost 5 per half, so you can't be too upset. I know you want to be none, but it's not like, but you're limited them, and hopefully they're not live ball turnovers. If they throw it to the stands if you don't throw the ball away.
That's right. Yeah, taking care of the basketball is a big one. I think our defense is really a pretty high level right now, and we're just going to keep rolling with that and allowing that to fuel our offense.
And also, coach, you got multiple guys, 2 in double figures, a few guys near double figures. So how about sharing the sugar per se, sharing that ball, and how important it is to get defenses because can't key on 2 people or 1 person, but you have multiple guys who can score the basketball for you in multiple ways and kind of keep your offense flowing the right way.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we're built, and that's how we've always been. And, it's always been important for us that, even like, we had Chris Clemens. He averaged, 30 a game and is the 3rd all-time leading scorer in Division I history. And it was never like, oh, well, Chris got to go get us 30 and we'll win. Like, we just don't think about it that way. And that stays true to this day. It's about sharing the ball and putting yourself in positions and then reading the defense. Our offense is so read based. We're playing a lot faster in transition, trying to put pressure on defenses, allowing our defense to, get us going with turnovers and steals but really it's about, sharing the ball. And when, if the right thing is for you to shoot it, you shoot it. And if the right thing is to throw the ball out to the next guy, that's what you should do. If he's got one, he's got a one more that's better, he's got to do that. And I think when you have that, and nobody's really concerned about who does the scoring, it can really kind of, it can kind of build within your team.
Coach, I'm curious about this. I got 2 more for you. What's been one of them? I'm curious about this. You play Thursday, Saturday, so prep wise, how do you go about the prep week when you got another team right there Saturday after that Thursday game? So you all in on Elon on Thursday. For Thursday, do you kind of mix in some A&T stuff in your drill work as well to get so you're not just blind on Friday doing a walkthrough or trying to get, if it says have a tough game on a Thursday night, double overtime or something, you can't want to get on the court. So how do you kind of prepare your team for that Saturday game when you get that so close right there back for you?
This week we're fortunate. So A&T is a Monday.
Okay.
But typically you're right. It's Thursday, Saturday, and it's challenging. I mean, there's been some times where on a Monday we'll mix in some Saturday stuff, just not necessarily talking about specifics or personnel, but maybe some concepts so that when we go back to it on Friday, it's not brand new. But, every team in the league's in the same boat. It's a little more challenging when you're traveling with it. So if you have a Thursday, Saturday, both on the road, because you're dealing with hotels, changing hotels, moving, practicing wherever you can. Sometimes it's at the Saturday Schools Arena. Sometimes it can't be based on your travel. But typically that Friday, just because of the wear and tear of the Thursday evening game, and usually the Saturday games are afternoon, is much more of a mental prep day. I mean, at this point in the season, you've seen a lot and you've done a lot. And so you can tap into some things that are familiar with regard to preparation, usually. Not always, but usually. And if it was one that was super unique, that would be probably a day where we'd use that Monday to help us out or in order to get a little bit ahead. But a lot of times, like we played 2 weeks ago, we played Stony Brook Thursday, we played Hofstra Saturday. I mean, we were at Hofstra for maybe 30 minutes and walked through their stuff and really just got the guys some shots up in the arena in order to get familiar with it. And a little bit of it's like, you got to be aware of the physical side, but also the mental side of, being your best on that second game.
Well, that's one for your coach. And you all went from the Big South to the CAA. So talk about that transition for you in the program and kind of recruiting a different kind of player going from the Big South to the CAA, how that was for you and your staff.
Well, I would say the biggest adjustment for us going to the CAA was just the physicality of the league was on another level. And I believe, and I've said this before, and I don't know that it's necessarily like intentional or thoughtful in any way, but I feel like the CAA is maybe officiated a little bit differently. Just like the physicality is sort of part of it. It's okay. I mean, and we're fine with it, but there was an adjustment last year. Things when, we would go to drive the baseline and, guy puts two hands on you. Back in the Big South days, that was sometimes a foul, and it wasn't in the CAA. So we had to adjust to that. And I think we did. And I think we attacked this off season from a recruiting standpoint, just looking for more depth of physical athletic guys that could, kind of handle the rigor of what we knew was coming. And, I think that's pretty natural. It's like if you went from, I don't know, pick a conference. You went from the
OPC to the Missouri Valley Conference.
Yeah, or like, the A-10 to the Big East. Like there would be different. It's just the style of the conference. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't seem like it should be that way. It is like, the old, what's the NFC conference in football with the Bears and the
NFC North, the
Central North, whatever. Like there was always traditionally like a physical run game type. Probably started because they all play in, weather that's not great and passing's not going to. So they leaned into their strengths. Right? So it's similar to that in that I think leagues do get styles over time. And, and then everybody's trying to keep up with everybody else to make sure they're ready to be able to handle that. But the CAA is definitely a very physical, athletic league. And I think we've done a good job of finding guys that fit that and adapted our style to fit.
Well, Coach McGeehan, it's good to catch up with you again. I hope we're talking again in March. Hopefully you go on a good run there, go to the biggest celebration, go to the big dance, man. So thank you for doing the show again. I hope to talk to you more often, Coach. That's because I have some gaps that we did inside. But it's fun to catch up with you again, Coach. It's good to chat with you, man.
Absolutely. You just let me know. I'm on anytime you need me.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you as always, Coach. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Yes, BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV, covering content and hot topics from A to Z, sports, music, society and culture, movie reviews, you name it, we have it. Check it out on bs3network.com or check us out on Roku, BS3 TV on Roku, as well as check out your favorite podcast on all podcast platforms or Spreaker.com/BS3 Network.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
What's up, good people? BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. The latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use your promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. What's up, family? Jared the Bossman here, You're tuned into the Bossman Show on AM 1010, AM 1430, 1055 The King. Let the King out at 105theking.com and the Bossman Show at bossmanshow.com. Hit me up on Instagram, The Bossman Show, Twitter at Bossman Show, and Facebook, Bossman Show. It's the Bossman on your radio.
Listen to the Bossman Show with your host, JR, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1010, The King.